consonant language. But anyway, may Yahweh continue to bless us with the wisdom and knowledge. And we can see that the world is in such chaotic conditions because we know that our brother Esau that was given the sword would rule. And we know that any time you take the sword and go in and begin to do hideous things to people, it eventually will backfire. And this is what is happening in the world. But we should want to know, what did our forefathers, and that's why it's important that when we read the Torah, we get divine understanding, because Yahweh God is guiding us through His Word. And that's why in Psalm, if we go to Psalm 78, I'm starting at Psalm 78, okay, starting at verse 6.
That the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born.
See, it said that the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born. This is beautiful. That what should they know? Go ahead. And it says who?
Who should arise and declare them to their children, that they might set their hope in God, Al-Hayamah, and not forget the works of Al-Hayamah, but keep His commandments.
See, so this is what is important. We want to set straight to our children. And that word where they translated hope in Hebrew is confidence. Yahweh wants us to have confidence in Him. You understand what I'm saying? He wants us to have confidence in Him. And He wants us to set our trust. He says, our fathers trusted in Thee. They trusted and Thou didst deliver them. They cried unto Thee and was delivered. But those, it says, they trust in Thee and were not confounded. And our adversary says, he trusts on Yahweh that He should deliver him. Let Him deliver him, seeing He delights in him. That's what they're saying. Oh man, like, hey man, God ain't gonna help them people. That's what He said. But what does it say? It says that, you know, that the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who shall arise, that they might set their confidence in Allah. In other words, teach our children by the works that was done, that we will have confidence in Him. And this is what we're going to do. Because what Yahweh did for our ancestors, Yahweh will do for us. It says, our fathers trusted in Thee. They trusted and Thou didst deliver them. So what did Yahweh do? Yahweh wants us to teach our children, ourselves, to have confidence in Him. And we must teach our children what was done. Let's go to Exodus chapter 14. See, just like, even though America is a big country, a powerful country, but Yahweh is more powerful than everybody. We don't have to worry about, you understand? Let's go to Exodus chapter 14, verse 14.
It says, Yahweh shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. And Yahweh said unto Moses, wherefore criest thou?
Okay, let's go back up to 13 and read down to 14. Go ahead.
And Moses said unto the people, fear ye not, stand still, and see the salvation of Yahweh, which He will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more better.
Go ahead.
Yahweh shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace.
That's right. See, Yahweh fought for our answer. He says, and Moses said unto the people, fear ye not, stand still, and see the saving power of your God, the salvation of Yahweh, which He will show you today. In other words, Yahweh took this opportunity that when we came out of Egypt, that He would save us from the circumstances that they were getting ready to afflict us. And Yahweh wants us to teach these to our children because this is your history. This is your history. Your God has always been there to save you and to get you. Okay? So we want to know that. Let's go to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 1. Deuteronomy chapter 1. Verse 30. Deuteronomy chapter 1. Verse 30.
Thou Yahweh, which goeth before you, he shall fight for you according to all that he did for you in Egypt before your eyes.
Yeah, see, so he says, Yahweh your God which goeth before you, he shall fight for you according to all that he has done for you in Egypt before your eyes. See, Yahweh wants us to remember the works that he did when we were in Egypt. And he said, this is Egypt what? A second time. Our salvation ain't gonna come through man. Our salvation gonna come through Yahweh God. Who can fight these armies with all this high-tech armory they have that would be able to what? They can pull one tank to 110th Street and with their computers level every building. So we can't depend upon man and his rhetoric. When you have a forceful nation, we can't do it on our own, because I'm going to show you in the Bible. Yahweh said, Israel, you can't do anything. You understand? Let's go that same chapter, verse 29. Then said unto you, dread not, neither be afraid of them. Yahweh your God which goeth before you, he shall fight for you according to all that he did for you in Egypt before your eyes. So Yahweh wants to encourage us not to let these things be dreadful, no matter how it might look. Yahweh said this to us. And he says this all through the Bible. He says, no, don't feel this way towards them, because I'm there and I'm going to help you. And we have to teach this to our children, that our children don't lose hope. You understand what I'm saying? We want to teach this to our kids, that our children might stand fast. And that's why it says in Jeremiah chapter 10. Jeremiah chapter 10. You understand? Starting at verse 1. What does it say?
Hear ye the words which Yahweh speaketh unto you, O house of Israel.
So he's saying this is to you, Israel. It's not to everybody. It's to the children of Israel. What does it say?
Thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, nor be dismayed at the signs of heaven.
Yeah, see, they looking up in heaven and they trying to more or less forecast when the end of the world is coming. He said, man, be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. Whether the sun go out or the moon does things or it turns red or whatever. He said, be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. Go ahead.
For the heathen are dismayed at the...
Yeah, see, the heathens, they watch that because they're trying to deal with some type of forecast, to determine the outcome of the world. Oh, you know how you determine the outcome of the world? All you have to do is look at your own negative action. If it's negative, you know the outcome of the world. Why would you need a forecast when you dropping atomic bombs all over the place and not thinking there ain't going to be no repercussion? You understand what I'm saying? And this is why you don't need them. And he says, stand now with thy enchantments and with the multitudes of thy sorcerers, which thou hast labored from thy youth, if so be thou may be able to profit, if so thou mayest prevail. We see, so he's telling them, with all of this, Thou art weary in the multitudes of thy counsels. Let now thy astrologers, stargazers, monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. He gonna tell you, like they looking at the heavens. That's in Isaiah chapter 46, starting at verse 12. And we were reading, because that's what he's counting, stargazers. They looking at the stars. They're trying. He said, well, then let them see. Can they give you counsel to put this that's going to come upon you? Because Yahweh said, therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou knowest not from whence it rises, and mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. In other words, one day they're going to look up, and desolation, farmland, things are going to be happening. They're going to say, what's happening? It's going to be strange to them. Things are going to happen because they have confidence in their chain of order. But that ain't going to help them, because when Yahweh is against a nation, he's against you. And Yahweh is against all this wickedness, untruthfulness in the earth, and murder. That's right. You can't tell me that it's another administration. They all the same. They all the same. Evil is evil. That's right. So Yahweh God wants us to know that he will fight for us. Let's go to Joshua. Let's go in the book of Joshua. That's right. Let's go in the book of Joshua. Because I want to let you know that we don't have to fear. The only thing we have to fear is breaking those commandments of Yahweh. When you start breaking the commandments of Yahweh, then you got a lot to fear. Yahweh is not a God that play around. You can be arrogant. You can do anything you want. That's right. But let me tell you something. If you know the will of Yahweh, you wouldn't be arrogant. Why? Because you're too busy trying to make sure you have a perfect and a harmonious relationship with your God. Joshua chapter 10, verse 14.
And Yahweh,
Joshua 10:14.
it says, and there was no day like that before it or after, that Yahweh hearkens unto the voice of men. For Yahweh fought for Israel.
See, so he fought for Israel. Yahweh, he fought for Israel. Now, what did Yahweh do? Let's go up to verse 13 and see verse 12 and see what Yahweh did. What did he do?
Then,
Oh, wait, let read. Go ahead.
then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up
The Amorites.
Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon
Gibeon.
Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of
Adullam.
Adullam. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed upon until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of
Joshua.
So the sun stood still in the middle
Of heaven, in the midst of heaven,
in the haze not to go down.
and hastened not to go down until a whole day. Go ahead.
And there was no day like before it or after it that the Lord
That Yahweh
hearkened upon the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel.
That's right. So he said that Joshua uttered his voice. It didn't say he sprinkled something. See, that shows you where he says, the remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity, nor shall he lie. When you keep the Torah, and truly keep the Torah, and obedient, that's why he said life and death is in the power of the tongue. Why? Because your utterance of his voice, Yahweh hearkened unto him. And he what? He stopped the sun. That the sun stayed in one place until they avenged himself. And he said Yahweh was fighting. In other words, they were the servants of Yahweh. Joshua, he said, go down in that land. So if you the servant of Yahweh and Yahweh give you a job, and you're doing the job according to the commandments of Yahweh, then you speak to your God. He hears you. But he don't hear a voice that is an abomination. He said even the thoughts of the wicked man is an abomination. His thoughts. That's right. So a man that keeps the commandments of Yahweh, how pure is his words and his thoughts towards his God and the work of Yahweh God at hand. He said that Joshua just uttered his voice. And he said what? It didn't say he was a prophet. What did he say? It says, and there was no day like that before it or after it, that Yahweh hearkened unto the voice of a man. For Yahweh fought for Israel. And it said, then spake Joshua to Yahweh in the day when Yahweh delivered up the Amorites before the sons of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon what? Their enemies. He just spoke to Yahweh. Do you understand? You don't have no power cursing and using your mouth